Hey loves, how are you? I'm gonna kind of touch on the last video I did, and we're then gonna go into some current messages. So much is coming up. I feel like potentials for like three or four topics that might come through today. But I want to start out with addressing the message that came through via the feminine collective around releasing any burdens that you might be carrying that weren't yours meant to carry. And this is such an important topic to look at. You're going to know intuitively what is meant for you to do or not to do. But it's important because as we ascend and as we evolve, our roles are constantly shifting and changing. And although at the core of it, you are still transmuting, some of what you might be actually transmuting is the old pattern of how we transmuted for others. And this is actually a really good sign because what it means is we've reached that pivotal point of stabilization where those that we were supporting with their transmutation process are actually ready to take the reins of their own transmutation in deeper and new ways. And so this potential is there and it's present. And so, yes, of course, it's your job to always discern how you're connecting with this message, but it also applies differently to every connection and every relationship. These things and these messages that come through are meant to support you in supporting you in discerning where and when and how they may or may not make sense for you. Sometimes, even simply contemplating a different possibility or potential perspective will actually help expand your view around the work that you're doing. And so, nothing that's presented here is meant to take the place of your own internal wisdom. That is always meant to be your main compass. These messages are simply to either validate what you're receiving or help expand a perspective. And why I think that that's important and why I'm guided to do it is because I actually have conversations with many people who have found themselves kind of in these states of self-doubt around what's actually happening and what they're receiving because they've been hearing so many different things out in the world, whether it's through friends or family or other videos they're watching or whatever have you. And I think this is important to address because if I believe, and in my personal experience, there are a lot of amazing topics out there. Okay, and they're relevant and we can learn from them. But any given thing on any given day, we might need to be able to let go of it so that it can expand to its next levels. And I'm going to give you a really quick example around this. So many years ago, probably many of you have heard the phrase don't make assumptions. You make an ass out of you and me, right? Like, don't make those assumptions without actually having a conversation with people, right? Which it makes sense. But then there was this other layer of energy where I was working and learning that on another level and another layer of truth, you want to assume that things are working out for you, right? Like that the universe is hearing your prayers, that you're taking steps forward. And even when you can't always see what's up ahead, it's okay to start to make the assumptions that the bricks that you're laying and the steps that you're taking are helping to pave the future that you're intending, right? And I think that this is a different view of making assumptions, right? There's different ways that we can take different things. And then there's even another layer that might be important to take at some point down the road, right? Where you're laying your bricks or you're paving your path to your future, but you're growing all along that way, right? You're growing each and every day. So you may have originally set out an intention and an assumption that that was going to be present for you as you move towards your future. But as you actually arrive into your future day by day, you may find that that assumption an intention has shifted for you because you have grown. Okay. That doesn't mean that your assumption was wrong. It just means the universe was actually super tuned in with you and your higher self and what was actually meant for you versus what you knew a couple years ago. I hope this is making sense to you, but this is in my understanding and my way of navigating things. It's important that we don't pigeonhole ourselves into one specific role in one specific way because there's lots of different ways of transmuting and lots of different ways of holding space for others. And sometimes the ways that we transmute and hold space is by non participation in the old patterns. Okay. That is a form of transmutation. So when we release the burdens that we haven't been able to process back to the source or the origin of where they're meant to be processed, we're actually doing our part in allowing those energies to transmute in the proper and appropriate manner. And you'll know this because you will not be able to transmute the pattern on your own. And it's just that simple. You can transmute your part, but then you have to let everyone else who's participating work on their piece of the puzzle. Okay. This is actually honoring the energies and where they are now. And because we are all always evolving, our roles in our relationships evolve as well. Okay. I hope this makes sense. If not, that's okay. If it resonates, that's cool. If it doesn't, that's okay. Take what works for you, leave what doesn't. Ponder it. If you have some questions, if you want to drop your comments, please feel free to do so. But it felt important to kind of air that out and open it up because as we're ascending, the same old rules of how we used to navigate things do not always apply in the same exact manner. And this information that I'm sharing with you is actually meant to help you unravel out of any of those potential traps. Okay. Because I've even had people say, well, if I'm not in union with my masculine, but I'm thinking about him, is that going to mess up the connection? Is that going to stall union? Okay, there is a difference between having thoughts of a person and also then like pulling on a person or projecting on a person. It's a completely different energy. And so I think it's important for you or for all of us to start to discern in what's really most important, in my perspective, is not so much about what's happening, but what is your energy and intention behind it. Because if you're thinking about other people and you're in a tempered, accepting energy, if you're in an unconditionally loving energy or working towards it, how can that be bad? Right? So allow yourself to discern through these messages because there's going to be sometimes these messages are what you need to hear. Because if you're in the energy of chasing or running or projecting or in high expectation of what you think everything's supposed to be, yeah, it's going to be important for you to temper yourself in that and to take more of the personal responsibility for your own energy, right? And coming into those inner union states. But if you are working on your inner union and you're focused on your responsibility, and you're learning how to navigate and dance with your connection in a way that is not projecting expectations or neediness onto it, well, then just allow it to be what it is. And I think that that's important because at the end of the day, at the core of these initiations and at the core of the intention is to support us moving into the states of unconditional love. And so, as you're unconditionally loving yourself, right, you're also then able to hold unconditionally loving states for others. And part of unconditionally loving yourself is holding space for yourself to process whatever is coming up for you. Okay. So, if you have a day or a moment where you feel a yearning for your counterpart, or you feel a sadness around the connection, because you are processing something, let yourself process it. It doesn't mean you're going backwards. It doesn't mean you're stuck. It doesn't mean that you've done something wrong. Actually, another alternative perspective could be that you're actually processing out the past energies and you've grown so much that now you're ready to drop the results of the work you've been doing into those pockets. Okay. Again, any energies that are squishing you into feeling not good enough, you're going to want to check those. You're going to want to really dance with those and look at it. And I know that unfortunately, we've been taught, or the past programming taught us to doubt ourselves. It taught us to not feel good enough. It taught us to listen to all of the other authority figures other than our own heart and soul and truth. Okay. But that's what we're unraveling, my loves. Okay. So this is where you're holding space and grace for your own process, your own ascension in your own truth. Okay. And I'm sharing it the way that I am because it is about holding yourself accountable to your space, to where you are. Okay. But if you are feeling anger or hurt or sadness or longing in moments, that's okay. That's human, right? What are you doing with it? Are you processing it? Are you learning from it? Or are you just allowing it to pass through because that might be all that's necessary? Right? It's more so about not getting stuck in the loop of it and allowing it to drain us or keep us in places and spaces where your gorgeous energy wasn't intended to live. Because you do deserve to be happy. You do deserve to realize your own love and to receive love and to share love. So, whatever you need to do to remind yourself that you're going through this ascension process and there isn't a specific roadmap on how to do it, and you're learning and you're pulling yourself out the other side. And so you're not stuck. Maybe some of the things that you're listening to are stuck. Okay. So you're going to want to actually pay attention to if there are levels and layers that are allowing you to continue to ascend and progress through your process. Okay. That's the things you're going to want to pay attention to. How is it making you feel? Is it actually supporting you in moving past these cycles and processes? Or is it keeping you in the same patterns and loops? Okay, this can go for anything, these types of topics, but it can go for literally anything. The way you grew up, your relationships with your family, with your coworkers, you can literally apply this to anything. Because I know that you are here because you are growing significantly. And I think that it's really important that you honor the growth that you've been having by not placing super intense, specific expectations on your growth. You can have your intentions for how you want to grow, but also understand that your higher self knows your potential. And sometimes our human self doesn't even know truly our potential. So it's important that we learn to listen to our bodies and our hearts and our souls. And if something doesn't feel right, it's because it's attempting to inform us of something. Okay. Not feeling right or having negative emotions is not a bad thing. It's actually telling you, okay, I got to look at this. Something isn't right. Why doesn't it feel right? Is there something for me to learn from it? Is there something for me to just observe? Is there something for me to just release? It could be a lot of different things. But the bottom line at the end of the day is it's really about you holding space and grace for yourself to bloom and blossom into the amazing being that you are. Okay. And that means allowing yourself to release the limitations of what everyone else or society placed on you and your being. Okay. Like let yourself release the ropes and the shackles and the chains and the expectations and let yourself actually blossom into your true magnificent potential. All right. And I did want to share something that came through the last few weeks, but it also was so gorgeous. It came through in the sacred circle of love last night. And for the last few weeks, I've been seeing in sessions, like I've been really drawn to the nervous system, into the spine and the Kundalini life force essence. And I kept receiving these messages around, it was to the degree of like, you're not, they talk about the Kundalini being a serpent, and they were showing me like, you're not just a serpent, you're like a dragon. And to me, it was representing not just that survival or reptilian part of our nervous system, but the actual super powerful energy and potential that we hold within our DNA and within who we actually are as beings, sort of breaking free of that survival only reptilian way of surviving and allowing all of our true natural nature to come through. And it came into the circle last night, and there was this gorgeous, like, heart activation of both the internal masculine and internal feminine, inner dragon, like in the heart space, like really activating through that. And I felt guided to simply share it here through the words today for any of you that may feel guided to connect with that energy. I am leaving the sacred circles private for those who join in those live, or that, sign up for the original recording if they're not able to make it live. But maybe I'll still be sharing some of the essences that come through. So for any of you who feel guided, you can connect with that in your own way. There was a lot of energy and essence of connecting with Mother Earth and really working with the sacred elements of co creation and supporting us with really grounding in, right? Grounding in these new ways of being and strengthening the foundation for ourselves, but also collectively as a community. And it was really beautiful. So, for any of you who want to join next month's circle, it'll be May 1st, Wednesday. And I actually put two times this time because I know many of you are not, you're in a different time zone. So, I am offering the 3 p.m. and 6 p.m. Eastern time just to broaden it and see how that goes. But I'm also open to actually adding a third time at 9 p.m. Eastern time because I know some of you guys are on the West Coast. Let me know if you're feeling any of that or would like that. Let me know in the comments, or you could email me if you would like. All right. So, lots of gorgeous, amazing energies. I've definitely been feeling a huge shift within the masculine collective. And I'm not going to go super deep into that right now, but I do plan to come back tomorrow with some messages for the Divine Masculine Collective, but also from the Divine Masculine Collective for those of you here who would like to partake in that support and insight, because it all feels relative to what we're talking about with the Divine Feminines, understanding when it's time to give space to allow others to expand and grow into their true potential. And it's all kind of coming together as I'm saying that. It's we've held different spaces as the masculine and feminine collective for one another in the past. I've spoke about the masculines holding space for the feminines to go through her transformation. And as the feminines have deeply stabilized, many of them, it's allowing the masculines to go through their space. And so we are collectively reaching this point where the masculines are ready to have more space and truly root and ground and expand into the amazing, gorgeous potential that they have and that they are. And so it's important for the feminines to let go of those reins and let the masculines rise. Okay, loves? It's beautiful. It's a gorgeous energy. I'm super excited that I even just said this to you. And so tomorrow, that's what we're going to be talking about and addressing. If you would like to join me for that, I'm looking forward to sharing those messages and insights and support with you. All right, loves. Hope you have a beautiful rest of your day, and I look forward to connecting with you tomorrow and the Divine Masculine Collective. Love you. Bye.